What's good, yo? Welcome to my review for this week's episode of Tokyo Ghoul. And Period actually did. They actually adapted chapter 125. They actually did. Now, it wasn't a complete one-to-one adaptation of the chapter, and I won't lie, since this is the chapters where I become a manga reader, and I actually went back and reread some of these chapters, just to, there was a lot. Like always, there was a ton of stuff that was cut out, but with whatever, that's understandable with how many chapters are adapting. Yeah. I know manga is my piss, like, oh, they cut out this, they cut out that, they cut out this, they cut out that, but realistically, that was pretty much, from what I remember, that really didn't have much bearing, but that could also be found, like, when I was reading the manga, I was really just reading it for the Token stuff, not so much for everything else, so that could have been playing a part of that. But whatever the case may be, there was a shit ton of stuff that was indeed cut out from these chapters, but when it came to the stuff that I was reading, why I was reading for, they did a beautiful job adapting. When they adapted chapter 125, I say they surpassed the manga. I honestly think they surpassed the manga. I am not lying. I legit think that. So, now there was also a couple other stuff they did cut out from this chapter that, like a design stuff with Kaneki and some other stuff that they cut out, which I will discuss when we get there. But the overall adaptation for at least what they need to get done this episode, Period did an amazing job for what they had to do. So, let us begin. Oh, but one other thing I forgot to mention, guys. I have now finally finished the manga of Tokyo Ghoul. Finished it up a little bit earlier today, and it's nice finally having that manga under my belt. Finally having it completed. This is the first manga I've ever read from start to finish, so nice to finally have that manga under my belt. Oh man, the Tokyo Ghoul manga is just so fucking good. Like, if you are an anime only, please do yourself a favor and manga. I'm not saying it's because the manga is superior to the anime shit. The manga is just so damn good. You just need to read it. It's I love it. Anyway, so starting off, we got Akira. She's like, leaving. She's just pretty much going nowhere. Amon stops her and she's like, hey, where are you going? And Akira, she is essentially just lost at this point. She doesn't know. She can't, as she said, since I cannot hold on to hatred, I'm at a dead end. And like I said, she's lost. She does not know where to go. She's at a dead end, as she says, because after all of her assumptions and views on ghouls that were probably put into her by her father have been completely shattered by Hinami and Toka a couple weeks back, she's just like, what do I do? I have no she's lost all meaning in her life, and Amon says, you can go somewhere. You and I are both still alive. And, he hugs her and says, I will stand by your side, no matter what. And and she says, don't dodge at this time. And she then goes to kiss so much. I'm assuming she actually connected this time, because last time Amon put his hand on her face, so yeah. So it looks like they're finally together, which, good for them and everything. That was pretty cool. We then head over to we head over to Toka and Kaneki, where Toka blatantly, just, nonchalantly, just straight to the point, asks our boy Kaneki, are you a virgin? And the man just spits out his coffee immediately, and I was just like, I was dying. And in case you guys weren't, yes, I did film a reaction to this episode, so that will be dropping probably before this episode. It might come out after this review, but it's definitely going to be coming. Anyway, so yeah, that part had me dying. That was just, Period just did, say what you will about Period, but you gotta give them props for this. They did a phenomenal job adapting chapter 125. You can tell that was their focus this week. They did a great job with the other chapters that they did. They did a good job with the overall adaptation when it came to the Token stuff, you could tell chapter 125 was there. That was what they were predominantly focusing on. Anyway, so Kaneki's like, oh, what brings on, oh boy, Kaneki, Kaneki does not know how to react to this situation. It's like, oh, one's like, oh, I figured you were one, you know. If it had to come, I'd let you do it to me. Toga, like, you can tell Toga's like, bro, I want you to fuck me. Oh my god, I love this stuff. And we then, like, right before, and also, one thing I definitely noticed is that Kaneki's hands are not flesh-like. Now, some of you might be like, wait, what are you talking about? Okay, so, apparently, now, in the manga, Kaneki's arms were fucked. He also had bags under his eyes, which were not there also. Although there were these little lines around, like, the corner of his eyes, so maybe that was trying to represent bags. But, you know, the man was also had bags under his eyes. His arms were over, like, pretty much flesh-like. Now, like I said, I started reading the manga with Chapter 125, and I didn't, like, you know, reread the whole manga to this point. So, if I remember correctly, when I was watching Chibi's reaction to the chapter, I believe it was because, like, because he isn't eating well. Because another thing that was actually cut from this week's episode is that they never mentioned about how that the ghosts that Kaneki's are actually struggling right now. They have, you know, they're running low on food. Kaneki is sleep deprived, as you know, you can notice with the bags, and Kaneki isn't really having a good time running this organization, especially with Fruta and the CCG right on their backs. So I'm pretty sure. Now I'm not sure those are the exact reasons why his Kaneki's hands were like that, and also I guess they got cut off, or he's just sustained so much damage that they just haven't been able to heal properly. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the reason why his arms were like that, if I remember correctly in the manga. So anyway, while Kaneki looks like he's gonna make some moves, they hear on the TV where we got Fruta, the man. I'm just gonna say right now, the man sounds like fucking Hitler. Like, he says, like, you know, I will create a world with zero imperfections to eliminate all ghouls. And I mean, if that doesn't sound like Hitler, I don't know what it is. I don't know if Ashita was purposely making the Hitler references with Fruta, with, like, you know, wanting a perfect world with no ghouls, which you can make the comparisons with Hitler trying to get rid of the Jews and all that stuff. But yeah, like, Fruta, the man's practically a dictator. And so you got him propaganda, and Kaneki knows, like, oh shit, that's one of our bases. We need to head over to the 24th ward. Toga stops and he's like, Ayato, we'll go to the 24th ward. She tells, like, bro, you need to stop doing everything yourself. You got Ayato, you got Nishiki, you got Tsukiyama. Let them do the heavy lifting. You don't have to do everything by yourself. You're the only one that thinks it's okay if you just disappeared. And she's just like, bro, just like, yo. And Kaneki's like, wait, is that the reason why you asked me if I was a virgin? My boy Kaneki finally started to put the pieces together a little bit about, like, oh. But right before they can get down, we then get Mutsuki actually is inside the cafe, and she's like, I finally found you, Sensei. Like, I don't know how the hell Mutsuki managed to find Kaneki here. I mean, I guess she thought, since he came here all the time when he was just a ghoul investigator, like I said, I cannot figure out what pronouns he used to Mutsuki, that he found out, like, okay, maybe he's here, so, which is sufficient, right? And you can tell the man has completely lost at this point. Like, whatever happened to him in that cave really fucked him up. Mixed out probably some manipulation from Fruta to get him on his Queen squad, and the man is broken. Just straight up broken. That man, he's lost. He's gone bonkers. He's gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. All that shit. So he's like, you know, Sensei, come on, it's time for you to come home. Like, you know, I'll do everything I can. And it's like, I can't do that, Mutsuki. He's like, oh, so you did betray us. The Quinks. And then you see, like, this wall with a bunch of photographs and with a knife with this photo of Mutsuki with you know, Heise and the crew when they were in the photo, and there's a knife through Heise's face. And so, like, he loses it. They end up getting involved after Mutsuki first gets a quick, like, you know, cut on Kaneki, where then they go at it. And, you know, he ends up getting kicked out of the like, gets, like, thrown outside the building. He goes after Toka. They go after. He even says, like, you know, I hate girls. He also says that this place reeks of ghouls. So, yeah, you could tell him that the Fruta probably did something to him. And when they had that little conversation at the hospital, like, you could tell probably Fruta did something to Mutsuki. So they go at it. Toka manages to get out. Actually, the kettle where she was making some coffee, I guess, falls down the ground. Then the whole back, like kitchen, just engulfs into flames. How? I don't know why, because there wasn't really anywhere for the flames to go to where it go. But anyway, flames are going everywhere. They fight. They manage to escape after we see that Musuke has her own little lackeys on motorcycles. They manage to get away with the explosion. So they end up leaving Musuke's like, go find them. And then we head over to Juzo. And he's just sitting on top of the roof. Uri ends up accompanying him. He's like, it smells like that one time. He's like, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of bloodshed. What is true? What does true peace even look like? If one side was to disappear, would that be considered true peace? Yada 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 yada. We then see Kuraiwa, and he hands up Uri something. A wedding invitation, and the look on Uri's face, like, because remember, this man hates, Uri hates this guy because of his father with his father. But even though you could say there's probably a bunch of other stuff that's happened with Uri that the anime has kind of, you can tell that the man has still gotten a lot of character development since we last saw him in the first half of Re, where. I mean, the man, he accepts the dude's invitation and actually goes to the wedding. He actually goes, so you can tell the man has gotten over his beef with Kuraiwa with his father, and I just love the look on Uri's face when he's like, I'm ready to give it. That look was absolute perfection. So Juzo throws his paper airplane, where then transition to see his full moon. This beautiful song plays. Oh my god, I don't know what the song was called, but sweet Jesus, it was fucking beautiful. It's right up there with Glassy Skies. I mean. Oh, it's so beautiful. I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's actually the same singer because the singer sounded a little bit similar, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same person. But we then see it. Then chapter 125 does indeed get adapted, and Peria did an amazing job. Now most of it was portrayed through skills with little bits of animation here and there, but I do not blame them. I'm more shocked that we even got this chapter adapted like we did, so I'm not shocked that most of it was stills. So our boy Kaneki and Toka go at it, bumping uglies and shit. And oh my god, it was. Peria did such an amazing job just portraying it. They even while they're undressing and doing certain other scenes throughout it, they put in clips from season 1 between Toka and Kaneki. And when I saw this, I was like, oh my god, I loved it. This is how you use flashbacks. Oh man, I could just gush about that scene all day. The art animation. Now there was some things that were cut that I wish that they were still in there, the line where Toka says, when the tear drops on her face, she says, "Why are you crying?" That was unfortunately cut, which I'm kind of sad about because that's the line just. But I'll let it slide. There was another scene where Toka actually sees Kaneki's abs, and she's like, "Man, you used to look like a twig." So that was also cut, but with the flashbacks, that mitigates that. So, and they even had the last shot of the chapter where Kaneki's kind of in the field position, and Toka is just kind of and Kaneki's face is on Toka's lap, and it was ripped straight out of the mind. Now I won't lie, it did look better with Ashida's art style, but then again, that's Ashida. But they did cut out the little 1-9 they had or 1-6 they had right there because Ashida loves using the I forget what those cards are called, the Terrier cards. The Tarier cards, JoJo uses them as well as a way to foreshadow for future events. It was a 1 and a 9. You could also say that it looks like butterfly wings as well as Kaneki, finally sprouting, and after our boy found the rabbit hole, so so that was cut as well. But they honestly they pretty much cut all that part out, so I'm not even surprised that wasn't even there, but. Overall, not too many complaints with the overall adaptation. They did a phenomenal job. They got through most. They pretty much did it wasn't a complete 1-to-1 adaptation from the manga. There was this one scene where Kaneki goes in, and the look at Toko's face, she's like, "Kah!" It's ripped right out of the manga where someone's in a pain. They have the lightning flash as their shot face, and they just got groan. So that was also cut as well. There was this one shot where you straight up see Toka topless. That was cut as well, but that's not surprising. There were a couple, but they were pretty much just like little subtle stuff here and there that they probably couldn't put in there anyway. So overall, there were little stuff cut. There were little cuts here and there, but due to censorship, I'm not surprised at little dialogue pieces like that. I kind of wish were in there, but they still got, like, when we see the tear in Toga's face and she's smiling, it's, oh my god, they just, parents did an amazing job. Say what you will about their treatment with TG, you gotta give them props for this, because they went above and beyond the calling. They could have just skipped this chapter, maybe done the kiss, and then just called it. No, but they went the extra mile to put in that amazing song, adapt as much as they could, put the scenes from season 1 there to really just hammer home and just tug on your heartstrings and be like, yes! And they just did an amazing job. Like like I said before, Perry went above and beyond the Call of Duty when in chapter 125. So I tip my hat to you guys, because you guys, I could talk about all day. They just did such an amazing job with that chapter. So then I guess we're in Fruta's office. We got Uta, we got Itori, and we got what's his name? You know, the gay dude. So they're she's like, hey, Uta's asking, hey, how are you? Like, hey, what's the sit? He's like, don't underestimate my connections, yada yada yada. Fruta comes in where he says that that he's planning on creating that he's going to end this feeble quarrel, this mindless quarrel between the humans and the ghouls, and that he's going to create a villain that even the peace-drunk people will even hate. So, and he's like, a final boss is what we'll need, a dragon that can defeat both Arima and Eto in one punch. By the way, that stuff with dragons, yeah, that's foreshadowing to next week. Yeah, and I really hope that we get this one scene that was in that chapter when it happens. Because if you're a manga, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I hope that other, maybe not that one, but there's this one scene that's around like the end of that chapter that I really hope we see. I really hope Paradise does adapt that, but next week's gonna definitely be interesting. So then we head over back to Oh, actually, right before that, we actually had we then see Fruits again. He's talking with Takizawa, where he asks like, just a refresher, what is Article 1, Section 88 of the anti-ghoul thing, where it says like, protecting or harboring a ghoul, is receives harsh punishment or criminal or capital punishment, yada yada yada. He's like, okay, good. Now that you know that, follow me. We find out that they have Yoriko in CCG custody because, as we know, her best friend's Toka, which, as we know, she is a ghoul. So that's gonna be interesting. I honestly don't really remember too much of the stuff with Yoriko in the chapters. So that's gonna be interesting. Yeah. Anyway, so we then head over to Kaneki. He's just in. Well, actually, before that, we see Toka. She's eating a cheeseburger. We see a bunch of water bottles around as Nishika looks over and looks at her, and she's like, chowing down this burger. Which I'll tell you the reason why she's chowing down on a burger later on. Which this was also cut up. I'm pretty sure in the manga actually Nishiki gave her that burger, if I remember correctly. Anyway, we then over to Kaneki, where he's just sitting, looking at something. Nishi comes in, he's like, okay, what's the CCG's next move? And he says, like, their friends are looking for the king, and then they plan to eliminate their leader. So it's like we should do the same. And Nishi's like, bro, you don't plan on dying underground here especially with your kid. And he's like, what? And the look on Nishi's face, it is a look of, oh shit. I done fucked up. I love that look at He's like, yeah, forget that I said it. You didn't hear it from me. I didn't say anything, forget it. And then we see Kaneki running over to Toka. Oh my god, this was just one-to-ones in the manga. I remember laughing my ass off when I read this chapter in the manga. Oh my god. The voice acting was phenomenal this whole episode. Like, Kaneki's Japanese voice actor did a phenomenal job. It was like, he's like, Taka-chan! And so he starts bombarding your questions, like, how are you feeling? He's like, I'm getting land cramps. Anything else? I feel tired. Anything else? He's like, my hair's frizzy. And she's like, anything else? It's just like, what are you getting at? He's like, oh, no, nothing. And, oh my god, this was so cute. You know, she like leads on him and she's like, "So, you want to do it?" It's just like, no, I mean, yes, I mean, oh my god, the voice acting here was fucking amazing. So, then Toka does spill the beans and say that yes, she is indeed pregnant. So now let me talk about the burger. So, now the reason she's eating the burger is because, as we know, she is a ghoul, and because now Chibi actually explained this when this happened in the chat when he was reacting to the chapter. That the reason she's eating this burger is so that because as we know she is a ghoul, so and since you know she is harboring a human, because we know Kaneki is indeed a half ghoul, so you know he's half human. So her body would consider that as food, so that her body would just ingest the baby and kill it. So she's eating human food to keep her body weak, so that she doesn't end up just ends up ingesting the child that she is of course carrying, so that she indeed has a proper birth, and she can actually give birth to the kid instead of you eating it for dinner. So that's why she's eating a cheeseburger to keep her so that she keeps her body weak, so that she doesn't end up consuming the kid. So then she's supposed to be that she's pregnant. Kaneki's like, she's like, I was gonna keep this under wraps until things were more certain, but yeah. And Kaneki's like, when's your due date? She says December. He says, I'm happy, That was just so adorable just seeing that. Like, I'm so glad they got adapted. Like, and Kaneki asks her, so how do ghouls get married? And after a little bit of negotiating from Kaneki, she finally does tell him that they leave a symbol on their partner where they bite as hard as they can on them so that the scar never disappears, even if it ends up killing them. So they end up biting each other. This was just ripped straight out of the manga. One line was better with Shida's artwork, but that's a Shida's artwork. That man is a fucking artist. So that was great at that. So then we head over back to the house where Urie and the guys are living at. Saiko's kind of losing about the whole stuff with Yoriko, and before that, we see that Takizawa tells Urie about Yoriko that her best friend was indeed a ghoul, but she never knew that she was indeed a ghoul, but there's no way that they could prove it, so they're kind of in between a rock and a hard place here. So then we head over to the house where we see Saiko. She's like, come on, we need to help her, yada 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 yada. The reason she wants to help Yoriko is actually, I actually didn't know this when I was reading the chapters, but actually, the woman that Takeyomi married was Yoriko. I legit never noticed that when I was reading the chapters until now. I was like, oh wait, she married him? Oh, okay. So Saiko wants to help, and we got our boy Urie, sitting on the couch reading the newspaper like always. He's like, that doesn't get change the decision. She's like, and even Urie says in turn, he doesn't want to see Takeyomi like this, but the decision's fine, but there's not much really he can do. Saiko's just like, fuck this, and kicks Urie, and says, you're good for nothing. She's like, you know what, fuck this shit, I'm done with the CCG, I'm gonna become a motherfucking terrorist, bah! So she leaves, she's then chilling the swing. Urie finds her, and she's like, I'm sorry, I know there's nothing we can do, sorry, Urie, and we get this amazing one, like I said, the character development Urie has been getting here is just fucking phenomenal, where he's like, that everyone has lost their reason to fight, and the last thing he wants to do, and last thing he wants is to be treated like a criminal. So he's like, you know what? Why not we talk to the CCG or just leave? And if what happens, we can become terrorists. So our boy Urie is finally done with his promotions. He's done with that shit. He's like, you know what? Fuck this shit. So good on you, our boy Urie. So that was a great moment there. Between them, we then get the wedding between Toka and Kaneki. Great stuff, great adaptation. A lot of it was stills, but great across the board. So then they're kind of just sitting on the roof. There was this one line that I kind of wish I wish was there, where Kaneki asks her "Hey Toka, is there anything you like?" And she says, "Cake." Which, if you guys remember, back in Season 1 in the manga, remember when Toka was first introduced, when they had that conversation with Kaneki and the alley, where she's like, I never understood why humans love cake. I like that little trait. I remember when Chibi first heard that, he was like he remembered it, so they went back and grabbed his manga volumes and went through the first manga volume to find that line, so I like that she did that little callback there, so that was pretty cool. We then end the episode with Ayato looking at this. I'm pretty sure this is still the 24th War in like their underground base. But we see like these massive tree like tree trunk like things just across this area, which yeah, that's gonna be interesting. So that's where the episode ends. Next episode preview. Definitely interesting. Looks like that's pretty much like around the end where I started reading chapters. I read a couple extra ones, but that was pretty much when I was at. That's when I was like done reading them consistently. It's gonna be next weekend, probably the week after that. Overall, fucking phenomenal. So this is probably my new favorite episode for TG, just because we got chapter 125. That's all I asked for. So Period. You did a great job there. So overall, I give this episode, of course, a 10 out of 10. So hope y'all enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter if you feel like it. Links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.